My name is Ethan Cole 38, and I work as a cybersecurity analyst based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. I spend my days tracking digital footprints, suspicious logins, untraceable backdoors, patterns that don't add up. I'm paid to see what others miss. Ironically, I failed to notice what was unraveling in my own home. I've been married to Madeline for 9 years. We have two kids, Emma 8 and Drew 6. From the outside, we were your typical middle-class suburban family. The two-story home, the backyard swing set the morning school drop-offs and Saturday soccer games. But a few weeks ago, something started to feel off. Madeline had grown distant. She claimed she was always tired, stopped kissing me goodnight. Some nights she said her back hurt and that she'd sleep on the couch. She started driving to Durham to visit her parents with the kids more often, two, sometimes 3 times a week. Each trip supposedly for family bonding. But her parents live an hour and a half away. I did the math. One morning I checked her car's odometer. That week alone, nearly 400 extra miles. That wasn't just family bonding. That was a pattern. I started logging mileage timestamps. I didn't confront her, not yet. I needed proof. Something solid, something irrefutable. And then fate handed it to me. It was a yellow post-it note left carelessly next to the keyboard in our home office. Scribbled in her handwriting, AOL, Matey, Cole, 87, Pass, Sunset Vibes, Storm 13. My heart didn't race. It slowed. Because I knew whatever I was about to find, I wouldn't be able to unsee it. I closed the office door, pulled the blinds, and opened her email. The inbox was full, but one name kept appearing. Jason M. I didn't need long to realize it was Jason Miller, her high school boyfriend. The one she used to say was a childish chapter of her past. The one she told me she hadn't spoken to in years. Well, they were definitely talking now. Still remember the way you bit my neck yesterday. Damn, just like that time under the bleachers junior year. My wife's basically a fucking walrus in lingerie now. 3 kids later, and she still thinks beige lace is sexy. I kept scrolling. I damn near choked on my coffee when you said she waddles into the room like she still got it. Jesus, how do you even keep it up? And then this from Madeline. She wore that stupid matching set again, LMAO. Maybe try dimming the lights next time. Or better yet, blindfold yourself. They laughed together, mocked his wife, trashed her body, her self-esteem, her motherhood. And through it all, my wife, the mother of my children, was gleefully part of it. My hands trembled, but not from shock. I felt numb, empty. This wasn't just an affair. This was cruelty. I printed every single email, the steamy exchanges, the insults, the timestamps. I made 2 copies, high-quality, color-printed, neatly stacked in manila envelopes. I didn't know when or how I'd use them, but I knew I would. That night, I stood outside my kids' bedroom, listened to them breathe, watched Emma clutch her stuffed dolphin like she always did, watched Drew snore with his mouth open, and I wondered, would they understand someday? Would they see why I had to do what I was about to do? I didn't sleep. I sat on the edge of our bed, our marriage bed, staring at the pale morning light creeping through the blinds. The last email I read before logging off still echoed in my skull. Next time, let's try it in the back seat. That red dress still fits right. The one I ripped off you senior year, I remembered that dress because she wore it on our anniversary in 2016, and she whispered that exact same line to me word for word. So now I knew. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was recycling our most intimate moments to gift them to someone else. And the question burning into my brain wasn't why. It was far worse. How many times have I kissed her while she still had the taste of him in her mouth? The next morning, I stood alone in the garage, coffee in one hand, eyes fixed on the odometer of Madeline's Lexus RX, the car I bought her for our 5th anniversary, the same car she now used as her getaway vehicle for betrayal. I double-checked the notebook in my hand. 378 miles in 6 days. She had only clocked 3 part-time shifts at the bookstore, each just a short drive from home. Add in 2 supposed trips to her parents in Durham, and it still didn't account for that kind of mileage. Where the hell was she going? I kept tracking everything, times she left when she came home, what she wore, whether the kids went with her or not. I built a spreadsheet so precise it looked like a surveillance log. Maybe it was. I didn't know what I was hoping to find anymore. Maybe I just wanted the data to scream louder than my suspicions. And the whole time she acted normal. Sweet even. Like she could feel something shifting and wanted to glue it back together with forced affection. One night she wrapped her arms around me in bed, something she hadn't done in weeks, and whispered, "I know I've been a little distracted lately, but I love you, Ethan. I really do." My heart didn't flinch. I nodded, didn't say a word, but in my head I could still see her typing. He still thinks I'm working late. I needed help. So I called Ron Alvarez, an old friend from college who had spent 10 years in law enforcement before opening his own private investigation firm on the edge of town. He owed me a favor from back in 2019 when I helped him recover some corrupted case files. When I met him, he didn't even need the whole story. I handed over a manila folder containing printed emails, maps, a mileage log, and a recent picture of Madeline. His eyes narrowed. "You want to know what she's doing or who she's doing it with?" "Both," I said. "And how often?" "I don't want guesses, Ron. I want timestamps. I want faces." He grinned, cracked his knuckles. "You'll have them." 3 days later, he called me back. "I got what you need. Bring a drink." When I showed up at his small office smelling of old coffee and printer ink, he pulled up a photo slideshow on his laptop. The first image, Madeline standing outside her parents' house in Durham, dropping off Emma and Drew at 10:13 a.m. Next slide, 10:47 a.m. She gets back in her car, alone. Next, 11:18 a.m., her Lexus pulls into the parking lot of a rundown two-star motel off the highway. Beige stucco walls, flickering neon sign, classic place for married people who want to forget they're married. 11:22 a.m., a beat-up Ford sedan parks next to her. Out steps Jason Miller, balding, smug, same blue dress shirt I saw in one of his Facebook photos. 11:25 a.m., they enter room 204 together. No kissing, no giggling. It's business. This isn't their first rodeo. They emerge again at 2:46 p.m. Madeline's hair is up in a bun. Jason buttons his shirt as they walk side by side back to their cars. She returns to her parents' house at 3:17, picks up the kids, smiles as they run into her arms. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. Ron flipped the screen back to black. They do this every Tuesday and Friday. Same pattern. Every time. I nodded. "You got anything on him?" Ron handed me another folder. Jason Miller, age 40, Vice President of Regional Sales at Grantwell Solutions, a medical supply company. Married to Carla Miller, full-time homemaker. 3 kids. Lives in Cary, just 30 minutes from my house. No known priors, but had a minor internal scandal at work in 2018 for manipulating client accounts. Daddy-in-law swept it under the rug. I stared at the photo of Jason standing next to his wife and kids in matching Christmas pajamas. This guy, this smug suburban sleazeball, he wasn't just banging my wife. He was laughing about it while playing model husband for his own family. And the more I read, the more I realized he thought no one would ever find out. That night, Madeline came home late. She said she had to stop by an auto shop because the car was making a weird noise. She smelled of lavender lotion and a cheap hotel's air freshener. "Funny," I said. "I already called the mechanic. He said the car's fine." She froze, just for a split second. Then she laughed it off. "Oh, then maybe I was just paranoid." "You know me, worrywart." I smiled. "Yeah, I know you." She leaned in to kiss me. I turned my cheek, went to the kids' room instead. And as I tucked Emma into bed, my mind raced with one single question. Who the hell is Jason Miller really, and what does he stand to lose if his wife finds out? 3 days later, Ron emailed me a new report. It wasn't long, but every line landed like a punch to the ribs. Jason Miller, 40 years old, graduated with a business degree, currently serving as Regional Vice President of Sales for Grantwell Solutions, a medical device company. His job handed to him by his father-in-law, who owns the damn place. Married to Carla Miller, full-time stay-at-home mom. They have 3 kids, live in a tidy 4-bedroom colonial in Cary, big lawn, white trim, and American flag hanging from the porch. Family perfection in a Zillow listing. Attached were photos Jason carrying a toddler on his shoulders at a minor league baseball game. Jason holding a sparkler on the 4th of July. Jason arm around his wife, beaming beside a snowman. Then another photo taken by Ron of Jason exiting room 204, shirt half tucked, smirking, one hand still lazily resting on my wife's hip. The juxtaposition made me sick. "How much do you think Carla knows?" I asked Ron during a phone call that night. "She's smart," he said, "but I don't think she suspects this. Jason keeps things compartmentalized. Works the image hard, PTA meetings, coaching Little League, full suburban husband mode. She deserves to know." Ron hesitated. "If you go nuclear, you won't control what happens next." I stared out the window. "That's the point." I began drawing connections, mapping out not just an affair, but a network of betrayal. Jason and Madeline were reconnecting for at least a year, possibly after a high school reunion or alumni event. They met twice a week, always during the day. Jason had a high-ranking role at a family business. Carla was financially and emotionally dependent on him. If this blew up, multiple families, not just mine, were going to feel the heat. It wasn't just personal anymore. It was strategic. I wasn't going to yell, throw fists, or key his car. I was going to destroy his world from the inside out. I sat alone one night writing by hand. A letter, the kind that isn't sent in rage but composed with chilling clarity. "Carla, you don't know me, but I think you should. I'm Ethan Cole, Madeline's husband. I've enclosed photos and copies of emails between Jason and Madeline over the past few months. I'm not asking anything from you. You deserve the truth, and what you choose to do with it is entirely yours. From one parent to another, whatever Jason's telling you, it's not the whole story. I thought you deserved the rest. Ethan." I placed the letter in an envelope, along with a USB drive containing the full photo set and PDFs of the emails. I didn't mail it. Not yet. This wasn't going to be sent through the post. This needed to be delivered. Meanwhile, Madeline grew oddly cheerful. She started texting again, laughing at my jokes in the kitchen, wearing perfume. I suppose she thought my silence meant forgiveness, or indifference, or weakness. One evening she let it slip. "Jason might be getting a promotion soon," she said while cleaning up dinner. "He told me they're expanding the East Coast division." I didn't react, just raised an eyebrow. "You call him Jason now?" She blinked, froze, then laughed nervously. "Oh, I saw it in the shareholder email." "Wrong answer." I nodded. "Huh, must have missed it." She didn't know it, but that moment was her final test. She failed. That night I met Ron again, over bourbon and silence. "We're going to deliver that envelope," I said. "In person. Not me, you." Ron didn't ask why. He knew. "Thursday," I said. "Same day Madeline gets served." He smirked. "You really want both bombs to drop at once?" "No," I said, setting down my glass. "I want them to collide." The next morning I looked at myself in the mirror. For months I'd felt like a ghost floating through a marriage that had long since hollowed out. But now there was a sharpness in my reflection I hadn't seen in years. I wasn't broken. I was calculating. And while Madeline was busy daydreaming about her midday motel romps, Jason Miller was about to lose everything he thought no one could take from him. I woke up that Thursday morning before sunrise. Not from anxiety, no, that had burned out weeks ago, but with a strange sense of calm. Today was the day I stopped being the man who got cheated on. Today I became the man who burned it all to the ground. At 9:00 a.m. sharp, I met with Ruth Jensen, my divorce attorney, in a quiet cafe downtown. Ruth didn't believe in sugarcoating. She had the calm, brutal composure of a surgeon who'd operated on hundreds of broken marriages and had zero tolerance for self-pity. "You want her served at work?" she asked, sipping her espresso. I nodded. Publicly. Professionally. Clean and cold. Ruth stared at me for a beat, then slid a sealed cream envelope across the table. Then today at 2:30 p.m., her office, right in the middle of her weekly staff meeting. Perfect. Meanwhile, Ron had his own mission: hand-deliver the dossier to Carla Miller. We coordinated the timing down to the minute. 2 different detonators, same explosion. Ron met Carla at a quiet family diner on the outskirts of Cary. He'd called ahead under the pretense of being a private consultant with sensitive personal information regarding her husband. She agreed to meet, likely out of sheer curiosity. Ron later told me the details over the phone. She was polite, guarded, wore a gray sweater and no makeup, looked like a woman who's been carrying a weight she couldn't quite name. He opened his laptop. First image: Jason walking into the motel. Second image, Madeline opening the door to room 204. Third image, Jason emerging 2 hours later, shirt wrinkled, smiling. And then the emails. Carla didn't say a word for the first 5 minutes, Ron said. She just stared. When she finally spoke, her voice cracked. I knew something wasn't right. I just didn't think it was this. Ron left her with the full printed dossier and the letter I wrote. No threats, no advice, just the truth. As he stood to leave, she said one last thing. Tell Ethan, thank you. Tell him I'm done pretending I don't see it anymore. 2:30 p.m. I parked 2 blocks from Madeline's office building, a sleek glass structure downtown. I didn't go inside. I didn't need to. I knew exactly what was about to happen. According to Ruth's assistant, Madeline was in a department meeting when the process server, an older woman in a tidy black blazer, stepped in and handed her the envelope. She didn't even open it right away, just sat there staring at her name in bold serif font, Madeline Cole. 10 seconds later, she got up and walked out. 2:35 p.m. She stepped out the front door. I saw her through my windshield. She looked dazed, not angry, not crying, just like someone who had walked into a room thinking they were the boss only to realize the meeting was about them. She pulled out her phone. I knew she'd call me. I didn't answer. That night, the silence at home was thicker than ever. She made dinner, but didn't eat. Just sat there at the kitchen island, pushing her food around like a child who'd just been grounded. I came in from the garage and said nothing. She tried once. Ethan, I didn't want it to be like this. I looked at her, flat blank. But it is, and walked past. The next morning, Ron texted Carla filed for divorce. Jason got kicked out of the house at dawn. Her father found out. He's been fired from Grantwell. Bonus, Carla drained their joint account. His credit card bounced at a Holiday Inn. I smiled for the first time in weeks, not out of joy, out of justice. This wasn't revenge, this was balance. 2 days later, a photo started circulating in local neighborhood Facebook groups. Jason standing outside a courthouse, face bruised, nose taped, wearing a wrinkled button-down and holding a duffel bag. Apparently, he'd gone back to Carla's house screaming at the door. Her brother answered and broke Jason's nose with a single punch. Police were called. Jason was taken in for questioning. No charges were filed, just a restraining order. I didn't lift a finger. All I did was open a door and let the truth walk through. Madeline didn't say much that weekend, but I saw her scrolling through her phone late at night, hunched on the living room couch like a shadow of herself. At one point, I caught a glimpse of her screen. Jason's latest Facebook post, I just want peace. Some people live to destroy what they can't have. A single comment underneath, looks like you destroyed it all by yourself, buddy. She locked the phone, went to the bathroom, and for the first time I heard her cry, not because she got caught, but because her fantasy life was crumbling in real time. And I didn't even have to raise my voice. She did this. They did this. I just made sure the lights were on while it all came crashing down. 3 days after the Grantwell Emergency Board meeting, Jason Miller's name vanished from their executive directory. No press release. No farewell email. No we wish him the best in future endeavors. Just a quiet deletion like he'd never existed. I wasn't surprised. You don't keep your job when your wife walks into your father-in-law's office with high-res prints of you cheating on her in a seedy motel with another man's wife. Ron filled me in on the fallout. Jason tried to come back home, he said over the phone. Carla wouldn't even let him through the door. He started yelling. That's when her younger brother stepped in. One punch, Ron added, broke Jason's nose clean. I paused. Police, they came. Yeah, but Carla didn't press charges. Just got a restraining order. Told them she didn't want her kids anywhere near him. I imagined Jason standing there, one hand clutching a bloody nose, the other dragging a half-zipped duffel bag, realizing for the first time in his life, no one was going to fix this for him. No wife, no home, no job, no backup plan. Just a pathetic man in a wrinkled shirt trying to figure out how the hell everything collapsed so fast. At home, Madeline had become a ghost. She still lived there for now, but barely existed. She no longer tried to make small talk, no longer offered fake smiles. Even the kids picked up on the shift. Emma once asked, why does mommy look like she's going to cry all the time? I didn't lie, but I didn't tell the whole truth either. Because she made some bad choices, I said, and now she's learning from them. I didn't tell them what she really did. Someday I might, but not yet. For now, I wanted their world to remain intact just long enough for me to build them a better one. One night I found Madeline sitting on the edge of the bed we no longer shared. Her back was to me, shoulders shaking. She was holding her phone. I caught a glimpse of the screen before she quickly locked it. Jason's face, swollen, stitched, defeated. His latest post read, "Trying to rebuild my life one day at a time. Prayers appreciated." And below it, a sea of savage comments. Didn't rebuild that motel room, though. You reap what you sow, bro. Maybe stay faithful next time. Madeline turned to me. Her voice cracked. Did you tell everyone I didn't blink? I didn't have to. She looked away. I didn't know he'd lose everything. I tilted my head. Didn't you? She didn't answer, because the truth is, she did know. Deep down, she just didn't care. Until now. Until later that week, I got a call from Carla. It was short, direct. Thank you, Ethan, she said. You gave me clarity, and you didn't make it a circus. That means more than you know. I wasn't trying to humiliate anyone, I replied. Just needed the truth to hit the right people. It did, she said. Harder than you think. Then she hung up. I stood in my kitchen letting her words sink in. I hadn't done this out of rage. I did it to realign the scales. Jason had pretended to be a king, and Madeline had let herself be his court jester. They built their little kingdom on deception. All I did was shine a light on the cracks until the whole thing crumbled. Over the next few days, Jason's online presence evaporated. Deleted profiles, canceled accounts. Even his LinkedIn quietly vanished. Rumor had it he tried applying to 2 competing medical firms. Both passed. One allegedly laughed when they recognized his name. He moved out of state. New name on a new profile, J.M. Adams. Trying to reinvent himself in New Mexico or Arizona or somewhere, with low rent and no memory. Ron sent me a screenshot. Your boy's in hiding, he joked. I didn't laugh. I just stared at the screen and thought he still thinks this is about running. It's not. It's about who you are when no one's looking. And now someone finally looked. Madeline continued to unravel. She tried to write letters. I found one crumpled in the trash. I didn't mean for it to go this far. You stopped looking at me like you used to. I just needed to feel something. Another one, unfinished, was left open on the kitchen table. We were so good once, weren't we? I swear I thought I was strong enough to stop it. She never gave them to me. She knew I wouldn't read them, not really. What was there left to say? This wasn't just about cheating. This was about choices. Repeated, deliberate, cruel. And every time she sat across the dinner table in silence, while I laughed with our kids, she saw the life she destroyed and the man who rebuilt it without her. One evening, she walked up to me slowly, like a child approaching a parent after breaking something they can't fix. Do you still hate me? I turned toward her. Calm, quiet. I don't hate you, Maddie. I let that hang for a beat. I just don't see you anymore. And I meant it. She nodded once, then turned and walked away. No crying, no drama, because she finally understood. This was never about punishment. It was about watching her become a stranger in her own story. I never kicked Madeline out, never raised my voice, never demanded an apology. I just stopped speaking to her, and that silent, slow, deliberate, unwavering broke her far more effectively than any screaming match ever could. No accusations, no yelling, no how could you. No, you ruined everything. Just absence of warmth, of connection, of acknowledgement. She wasn't my wife anymore. She was just a woman who happened to live in the same house as me and our kids. At first she tried. Oh, she tried. Do you want me to sleep in the guest room? I made your favorite tonight, steak medium rare? Ethan, do you hate me? I'd nod, or shrug, or walk away. My silence wasn't petty. It wasn't a tantrum. It was a boundary, and it was bulletproof. Because I didn't need to scream. She was doing all the suffering on her own. 2 weeks after the divorce papers were served, Madeline got suspended from work. Not officially fired, but the office rumors passed around in lunchrooms and private Slack channels had done their job. Apparently, someone from another department whose wife went to high school with Jason, had caught wind of the affair. Then someone else mentioned the divorce, and someone else shared a screenshot of a Facebook comment from Carla's sister. The web unraveled quickly. Madeline worked in corporate communications. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. She left the HR notice on the kitchen counter. I didn't touch it. I didn't ask. She wanted me to see it, wanted some kind of reaction. She got none. She sat on the couch in silence for hours that night staring at nothing, as the house buzzed around her, Emma doing homework, Drew playing on his tablet, me answering work emails with calm efficiency. She no longer fit in her own home, and that I realized was punishment enough. "Why doesn't Mommy eat dinner with us anymore?" Emma asked one evening. "She's just not feeling well," I said. My daughter frowned. "Is she sick? Not in a way a doctor can fix." Emma didn't ask again, but I could see her watching Madeline closely, tilting her head like something didn't quite make sense anymore. The shine was wearing off, the pedestal shrinking. I hated that. Hated that my children would someday learn who their mother really was. But I also knew I couldn't shield them from everything. The best I could do now was show them what self-respect looked like. Madeline tried writing letters. I found them in the trash. Some were crumpled, others torn. Some halfway written as if her words had betrayed her before she even finished them. "Ethan, I never meant to hurt you. I just felt invisible, and Jason, made me feel wanted again. You used to look at me like I mattered. I guess when that stopped, I tried to find it somewhere else. I was wrong. I know. I didn't respond, not out of cruelty, but because I genuinely had nothing left to say. The woman who wrote those letters no longer existed. The woman who betrayed me for midday motel sessions, who mocked another woman's body while stripping down for her husband, that woman made her choices, and I made mine. She started sleeping in the guest room, not because I asked, because she couldn't stand sleeping alone in the bed we used to share. I saw her there one night curled up with a pillow facing the wall. She cried quietly. Maybe so the kids wouldn't hear, maybe because she didn't think I was watching. I was, but I didn't move, didn't comfort her, didn't reach out, because that comfort belonged to the man she used to have, and that man was gone. Ron called me one afternoon with an update. Jason's out of the state. Arizona, maybe New Mexico. Changed his name on LinkedIn. Going by J.M. Adams now. Running away, I asked. Trying to, yeah. Still unemployed. Blacklisted by 3 major firms. Carla locked down everything, house, bank accounts, custody. Good, I said simply. Ron paused. You know, most guys would have burned the house down. You played this like chess. No, I said. I just stopped protecting people who didn't deserve it. Weeks passed. The silence between me and Madeline turned into something deeper. Final. She no longer tried to fix anything. No more letters. No more hopeful glances across the room. No more fake dinners or manipulative tears. Just silence and shame. And somehow that felt right. She'd become a ghost in her own life. One evening she walked up to me in the hallway, timid like a child. "Do you still hate me?" she asked. I looked at her for a long time. "I don't hate you," I said. "I just don't see you anymore." And I meant every word. She nodded once, eyes glassy, and walked away. No breakdown, no begging, just the quiet resignation of someone who finally understood I didn't need revenge. I just needed to show her what life looked like without me in it. I woke up that morning with no bitterness in my chest. For the first time in months, I didn't feel the weight of betrayal pressing into my ribs. I didn't start the day with a tight jaw or clenched fists. Madeline was gone, not physically yet, but something in her had vanished. The version of her I once loved had withered into someone I didn't recognize, and honestly, I was okay with that. Today, the divorce was finalized. No courtroom drama, no drawn-out fight over assets, just signatures and silence. She didn't show up. Her lawyer handled everything. The final fitting act of a woman who had spent the last year avoiding consequences until they showed up with legal letterhead and my name printed on them. 3 months later, custody was awarded solely to me. Madeline didn't contest it. She cited mental health strain as her reason for stepping back, which was ironic considering the most damaging thing to her mental health was probably the echo of her own decisions ricocheting off the walls of a half-empty apartment. She packed what little dignity she had left and left early one rainy morning. No goodbye, no hugs for the kids, not even a glance back at the house she helped hollow out. All she left behind was a single handwritten note on the kitchen table. Ethan, I know I don't deserve anything from you, not forgiveness, not pity. I just want you to live a better life than the one I tried to ruin. You were always the best part of my world. I just couldn't see it. I read it once, then folded it and tucked it in the drawer beside the divorce decree. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't hurt. I was simply done. A new job offer came shortly after that, a cybersecurity lead for a growing firm in Charlotte. Bigger salary, better hours, fresh start. I moved with the kids, enrolled them in new schools, found a house with a yard big enough for a trampoline and a dog we'd end up adopting. And somewhere in the middle of building that life, I met Rachel. Divorced, early 40s. Sharp, kind, no bullshit. She'd been cheated on too. Different city, same story. But where Madeline had made excuses, Rachel carried wisdom. She didn't hide her scars. She showed them to prove she'd healed. We didn't fall hard. We grew into each other. Slowly, respectfully, without secrets. One night as we sat on the porch drinking red wine, she asked, "Do you ever regret how you handled it?" I took a long sip, thought for a moment. "No," I said. "I didn't scream. I didn't retaliate. I just gave them the rope. They tied the knot themselves." She smiled, leaned into my shoulder. "Maybe that's why I love you," she whispered. Emma asked me one day out of the blue, "Daddy, do you still love Mommy?" I didn't flinch. I just looked at her and said, "I think I did. Very much. But love doesn't survive lies. It needs honesty, just like people need air." She seemed to accept that. Then softer. "Do you hate her?" "No," I said. "I don't. I just don't carry her with me anymore." She looked out the car window, quiet for a while, and then she smiled. That's when I knew we were okay. As for Jason Miller, gone, vanished from every company database, every social profile. Last I heard, he was bouncing between contract gigs under a different name. His new alias, J.M. Adams, shows up on obscure freelance boards and never lasts more than a few months. He tried live streaming his side of the story once. The internet chewed him up. "You blew up your own life, bro. Actions have consequences. Google it." Lying with someone's wife doesn't make you a victim. That live stream didn't even last a day. Now he's just another ghost in a search bar. A cautionary tale with a weak chin and a bad story. Ron, my friend, my shield through all of this, published his first book 6 months later, The Truth is a Loaded Gun. He included our story in a chapter about emotional justice. He thanked me in the acknowledgments. Said I taught him the difference between revenge and restoration. And Madeline, she never remarried, never rebuilt. She moved to a smaller town, started working admin jobs under a new last name. Emma and Drew hear from her now and then. A card on birthdays, a phone call at Christmas. Sometimes they visit for a weekend, and I don't stop them. But when they come back, they never talk much about it. They just hug me a little longer. I wasn't the man she wanted anymore. I was the man she destroyed and couldn't rebuild. And that's okay, because now I wake up in a quiet house filled with laughter and second chances. Because now I kiss a woman who chooses me completely. Because now when I look in the mirror, I don't see a broken man. I see a man who walked through hell and never let it change who he was. They ruined themselves. I just held up the mirror, and then I walked away.